to episode 140 of the Whatnauts review show, where each week we pick a story and we talk about it. This could be a movie, TV show, anime, manga, comic book, audio drama, all kinds of entertainment. We watch it, read it, listen to it, and then we come back here and we talk about it. My name is Melissa Wilkinson, and I am joined as always by Kyle Springer.
Aha! Hello! How's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
Actually, to be honest, not feeling great.
Oh, dang.
Which is why we are recording on Sunday night and not Sunday morning like we normally do. But I've spent the whole day kind of just in bed reading comics, just being like, I don't feel good. I don't want to do anything.
Okay.
But that being said, I'm still excited to be here and talk about the stuff. You
just spend all day
this.
Conserving energy to be excited now.
Exactly. Yeah. So, how are you, though?
I'm doing good. I had a productive, not really a day off, but when we move recording like this, my day takes an entirely different shape. I was able to do some errands. I dropped by to see my brother on his porch for a couple minutes.
Nice.
Watched an entire film. I made myself a mug of hot cocoa as required by the medium we were talking about today, right?
I completely didn't think about that because
I thought
I have
you
like
would.
one
Otherwise,
more,
I would have asked you.
I have like one more cup of cocoa that I can make.
One
Not
loan.
even kidding. And I was planning on making it tonight, and I didn't even think about it. Damn it.
I figured you needed no excuse to make yourself a sugar beverage.
Right. All I have now is water in my Hulk cup.
Hulk, perhaps the Avenger, most needing to fake his death and run away.
Yeah. I feel like he's tried that a couple times.
Yeah, that's how Age of Ultron ends.
Exactly. Well, what are we talking about this week, Melissa?
We are talking about an audio drama. We aren't kicking off 2021. We're a couple weeks in, but I wanted to make sure we got an audio drama in early because we only did like one last year, and it's a medium I love and I want to focus on more. So we are talking about season 1 of the Amelia Project. This is an audio drama from creators. Let me pull this up on my gosh danged phone.
Oh, that gosh danged phone.
Right, where are they? It is Philip Thorne and Oystein. Oystein Bragger. Philip Thorne and Oystein Bragger. Quite a team.
There you go. Yeah. How did you hear about this audio drama? Because you pitched this to me, and this is one that I haven't heard of. Now, granted, I like the medium of audio dramas, but I can't really say that I'm up to date on them. And like, what are the new ones out there that at least have like a season or two?
Same.
Done. Like I know all of your like the black tapes and the bright sessions and all of that stuff. Your Wolf 359s.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know the new hip ones. Right?
Exactly. I feel the same. Like I felt like I knew the audio drama landscape pretty well in like 2016. And so a couple weeks ago I was like, I need to update myself. Like I don't really know what's new out there. So I think I Googled best audio dramas 2020. And I went to the podcast I was listening to. And on my app, they've got a little column at the bottom for, you might also like this. And through one of those two methods, I found the Amelia Project.
There you go. Interesting stuff. Yeah, I picked this one because I think the other things that you pitched last week, I had either heard of or had already listened to or stuff like this. So this was an unknown quantity to me, which is why I was like, let's go for that one because I have no idea what this will be. But it has such an interesting premise.
Yeah.
Too, when you described it, it's about I guess it follows an agency that helps people fake their own death and then gives them a new identity for them to go off and do whatever they need to go do. And that just seems like fun.
Yeah. It is a great premise. There's some continuity in the background, but every episode is a recording of an interview with a different client who's got a different wild problem that they need to run away from, or of somewhere they need to get to. It's fun. How did you find it?
I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Good.
I think listening to episode 1 and then where they finish off by the end of that season, you can tell they really found their footing. I mean, they were good to start out with, but just by the end of season 1, they really grew into like, okay, I think we now know what we're doing. We're, all of that stuff. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think this was their first audio drama. I listened to the behind the scenes thing, and I think that's what they were kind of implying, that they are actors and writers and stuff like that, but they haven't done a fictional podcast. And so they were just like, let's make one, and they did, and it's great. So I enjoyed it a lot.
Awesome. I listened to the first 2 episodes as a trial before I pitched it to you, and I loved the rest of the season too. There's some really standout moments in this.
Pretty clever.
Yeah.
Time to time. So now let me ask you this, because last week when you mentioned the show, you mentioned that there were these like interstitial things. Did you listen to those? I listened to those. Okay, cool. Those are little bonus scenes that sort of make reference to like the previous episode, or do something to set up the next episode, or they're just, in office antics between the interviewer and Alvina and company. And I also listened to, I think I asked you to listen to the 2 bonus episodes. So we listened to season 1, but then there's 2 episodes beyond that. There's like a World Audio Drama Day celebration episode, and then a Christmas episode that were labeled as like season 1 bonuses. So I went ahead and threw those in there too. I had a blast at this, so I'm excited to talk about it more. So we already kind of mentioned the pitch. But there also is a little bit of continuity within the show in the background. Do you want to give like a brief plot synopsis of what's happening without spoiling things?
Yeah, every episode is a recording of an interview from a nameless interviewer with the client. Find out what their problem is, why they want to die, how they want to die. The how is very specifically planned out as to, and also what their life is going to be like after they've faked their death, and what their new identity might be. And you hear about some of the other people in the office. They've got it seems like this muscle that'll kind of help you fake your death. They'll come in and pretend to murder you. They'll be your getaway drivers. They have a plastic surgeon on staff. And there's a little bit of background about maybe another agency that's trying to find out, that suspects that this agency is real and is trying to get on the inside and find out what their secrets are. Yeah.
It's good because it feels so small and quaint.
Yes.
But then by the end of season 1, you're like, oh, this is actually a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. And they're playing with some interesting formatting. I think there's one in particular that I liked. That I was like, oh, I did not expect that. That was great. How they changed it up.
I admire how much they did play with the format for being as new as it is. Like, they're not afraid by like episode 7 to trust that the format well enough that now they can turn it on its head completely.
Yeah. I think a lot of people out there, when they're making an audio drama, want to box themselves in with the like, okay, we need to think of a scenario where everything is recorded.
Yeah.
Like they're having phone conversations, or they're recording it for a secret project so they can do this or that, or it's an investigative journalism thing.
Yeah.
But you don't really need that. Like it's a neat gimmick, but
Yeah.
I think this medium has also used that up to its extent. And yeah, to see them immediately kind of drop that in season 1, and it's not dropped all the time, but they're playing with it, where it's like, okay, this stuff isn't recorded, but we're still listening in on these things, so it's good.
Yeah. I am a particular fan of the audio drama that is the format of something that the format of a broadcast of some kind, or something that would be recorded, like the Pacific Northwest Stories family of shows, or King Falls AM, or even the Bright Sessions, which are all these psychology session notes. I like that the show gives you both. It gives you this is a thing that would be recorded. You are hearing something that is part of record keeping, and you're getting more of the more free-form audio drama. You're just a fly on the wall listening to these people live their lives.
Yeah. Good
and then
stuff.
you get the behind-the-scenes episodes, behind-the-scenes episodes with the actual creators. And then I listened all the way up through Liquefied Marzipan, which is the episode where they're talking to their sound designer.
I don't think I've gotten to that one. Was that in season 2 later on?
It's like right between season 1 and season 2. I didn't assign it to you because it wasn't a full scripted episode. It was just behind the scenes stuff, but it was pretty neat to listen to.
The Amelia Project. Where did I stop? Let me see here. Yeah, I stopped right before that one. I should have gotten to that one.
Well, you have to look forward to.
But yeah, I have that one to look forward to. Indeed. Well, with that said, let's get into our housekeeping, and then we will go on to spoilers. So if you guys have not checked out season 1 of the Amelia Project, go do that now. And we'll be right here waiting to discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll wait.
Yeah, as long as it takes.
Mm-hmm. We'll be here. If you guys did not know, we have multiple podcasts here at the Whatnauts. You guys can find out more information on our website, which is thewhatnauts.com, as well as your favorite podcasting platform of choice. Just type in the Whatnauts and all of our shows will pop up right there. If you like what we do, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. We have a $3 tier where you guys can get all sorts of exclusive content. And I think we finally have a good idea for what we're going to do for our next one for Crossplay, which is our video game podcast. It's actually something we started last year and never finished. We're going to be doing a video game draft. But it is more of a like legitimate fantasy league that we will be keeping up with throughout the year and stuff like that. And we will check back in at the end of the year. So I think we're going to be recording that, having some fun, and that'll be up for patrons. I think hopefully next week sometime. I think we're recording it next Saturday. So there you go. Last but not least, a big shout out to our Patreon supporters at the $5 tier. So thank you, Sam, so much for helping us out.
Thanks, Sam.
And supporting us. We appreciate you a lot. Thank you. Yeah, let's see. Do we have any other housekeeping I can think of off the top of my head? No. I think we're good. So let's move on to spoilers. Bam, here we are. Season 1 spoilers for the Amelia Project.
Yeah.
Melissa, you usually save this for the end, or I guess we do.
Yeah.
What did this remind you of? Because I feel like there's something on the tip of my tongue that's like, gosh darn it really reminds me of this thing, but then I don't know what that thing is.
I did write down
familiar.
I did write down a number of other audio dramas. One I know that you've also listened to is Wooden Overcoats.
Yeah.
This has got more of a episodic problem of the week kind of procedural tone to it than Wooden Overcoats does.
But the same kind of comedy, I feel like.
Yeah. It's European, yes.
Have you seen the show Community?
A handful of episodes.
So in season 1, I believe, there is one where Jeff ends up signing up for a class that's all about seizing the day. It's all about carpe diem. And his teacher, like there is no curriculum, right? he's just like, your homework is to kiss 10 people and go do this and do that. And so you have to make the most of your day. And if by the end of the semester you haven't genuinely learned to seize the day, then you fail.
Wow.
But you'll see the teacher show up and he'll be like, yes, I would like a large black coffee. No, make that a birthday cake. And it's just the most ridiculous stuff. And for some reason, I think the interviewer reminds me of that character.
Yes.
Of just like, let's just Coco, Bubbles, they help me think. Like, let's go here, but what about the penguins? And it's just like he's so jolly. And, and he's so exciting. And it really brings you in to the show because he's one of, if not the first person. Well, I guess there's their answering machine, which is also a familiar voice.
Yeah,
with
that was nice.
Julia Morizawa on that there. But the interviewer is like one of the first characters that you meet, and he's just so exciting. And
he gives you his log line there at the beginning. He's like, I hate to be bored. Do not bore me. If you've got my interest, you've got my full commitment. I'm on your side. What can I do for you? Yeah. And like, he's constantly drinking the cocoa, which is why I've got mine. It really inspired me to lead a cocoa lifestyle this week.
There you go.
He's blowing bubbles. One of the interstitial bits I particularly liked is an episode called Jumbo Pepsi. And all these interstitials are like 5 minutes or less. And it's the office goes to a movie, and Alvina has so much to say about the movie. She's got such like deep, intense film criticism. The joke being that she's talking about Pitch Perfect 3.
Right, yeah.
And the interviewer's like, I didn't care a lot for the movie, but I love this Pepsi. I love snow caps. Like, he loves snacks.
He loves the experience of things, but he's not into like criticizing it or analyzing it. He just wants to experience things.
Right. He's just skipping through life.
He reminds me, like, if I had to, like, in my own head canon decide who that character is, like, he is the like younger brother of a very wealthy crime family who just doesn't want to be involved. And so this is the way he can, like, this is the only way that he knows how to help people. Like, I'll fake your own death, and then we can get you a new identity, and you can escape this. Like, that is, like, deep down, that I think that's what he wants. He, like, does not want to be a part of, because how does he have all this money? Like, who is this guy? It's mysterious. We don't know this thing about him.
We don't know how this organization works. It's called the Amelia Project, which is not just the name of the podcast. It's the name of their organization.
Investors?
I kept expecting us to at least have hints to whoever the Amelia is. And then I started to think, well, there is quite a famous Amelia who has gone missing. And maybe like she was case number 1. I want my plane. Me and Fred Noonan are running away together, make our plane disappear somewhere over the South Pacific. And who knows where she went then.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
And there is going back to the Jumbo Pepsi episode. I love their names for the episodes. Each main episode is just named after their client, but the interstitial ones get these fun names. Like even the bonus episodes get fun names. Like I said, the name of the episode where they're just talking to their composer and sound designer is called Liquefied Marzipan, which is a phrase that really sticks in your head. In Jumbo Pepsi, they're mentioning that the last movie that he went out to go see in the theaters was Thelma and Louise, which was in like the mid 90s. And it seems like they were all already at the office at that point. And that's only a matter of a couple decades. But I started to wonder, like, how old are these people?
Right.
Is there something mystical or science fictional going on? Or did you just get indoctrinated into this company very, very early? Were you like a teen intern who became a lifer? What's your backstory here?
There does seem to be this kind of like magical realism going on in the show. There is magic, but there isn't. There's time travel, but there isn't. There's space travel, but there isn't. Like it's this weird mix of things that like they could really write whatever they want and have whatever they want happen in this show, and them just like not even think twice. Just be like, oh yeah, that's that's what happens in the show. And I like that because I think that outlook for the world that they've created is not hopeful is not the right word, but it's optimistic, right? It has this like youthful vigor, which is I think exactly the way the interviewer sees it, right? And it's just like anything can happen. This feels great.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Even though this is a show that bills itself as a black comedy, it is not cynical. You know, people aren't trying to fake their deaths and run away from a dystopian society that they live in. It seems like the world at large is pretty okay. You know, there's plenty of wonder and excitement to be found out there, that we just keep finding these individual people who, for whatever reason, are like, I'm done with this. I need something new.
Yeah, the first one I think was the darkest. Because you do like the end credits scene, you do get to hear what's happening, and that first client wanted to fake their own death by like having a chain wrapped around their neck and like basically decapitating themselves while they're in their car, which is the most ridiculous way to do this thing. But you hear it happening. Right. And so it's a little. I think that is maybe the darkest moment of the entire show. But it is right. It's in this way that like, it's not actually happening. Like this whole thing is fake. And yeah, but then beyond that, I think they really stick to that. I don't want to be bored. Like, let's just have fun with this. And like, what about a guy who's started a cult and has preached that there is this like this antithesis to Earth that's on the opposite side of this. It's just completely wacky. But like it's a hell of a lot of fun.
Which case was your favorite?
Oh man. Like I said, they had some clever ones. I think the funniest one was the one I just mentioned about the guy who's about to be shot out of the cannon. That he made this cult, and he's what was the name of the planet? It was Antithon or something.
I think that's it. Yeah, the first two episodes I don't remember as well because I listened to them a while ago to like figure out if this was something I wanted to pitch or not. But yeah, that sounds right.
I think that was one of the funnier ones to me, but I think it's like the second half of season 1. I think I started to like those ones a lot better because, like we had mentioned, they start playing with the format of the whole audio drama thing. They had one that I didn't know how it was going to work out once they started the gimmick, but they have a client who can go forwards and backwards in time by 1
Yes.
hour. And so the script ends up seeming like they had like a giant stack of papers and slipped and fell, and all the papers went everywhere, and they just stacked them back up in a random order, and that's how they made it. Like, okay, how do we make this fit? And I liked that one a lot, but as it was happening, I didn't understand, like, okay, how is this going to fit together? I don't understand. And by the end, I was like, oh, that worked. Like, that was wonderful. And then there's another one. I think it might be the season finale where it's playing the normal thing, and then the like tape stops, and it's the MI5 people listening. Like, it's that, like, okay, and then we zoom out and it's actually this thing, and then we zoom out more, and like, I really liked that. It was those moments, I think, that really captivated me. Just like, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, they do a lot to build out the world in each of these individual cases. Some of them are a bit more insular. Like, I think the guy cheating on his wife is interesting, of a pickle as that is. Where, like, he's
tickle
having
my pickle and call me silly.
Yeah, he's having an affair, and his wife calls, and he's trying to hide the affair. So he's like, "Oh no, honey, I'm at the office." And then, like, there's his office, like, explodes. I forget why. Maybe they were manufacturing something and a machine broke. Do you remember why the building exploded? Was it like a crime?
I don't remember exactly, but yeah, like, I think she was calling from home. She said she had to go on some, like, work trip or something.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Hey, where are you right now?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm at home." But she was at home.
That's the first one. That's the first episode. I'm thinking of the one where the man is there's multiple cases of adultery in this podcast. Yeah. I'm thinking of the one where the guy shows up and he's like, "I already am dead because I was having an affair. My wife called right before I'm about to get into bed with this woman. I tell my wife, 'Oh no, honey, I'm at the office.' His office building explodes. He's unaccounted for, so everybody thinks he's dead. And he's like, now my mistress wants me to run away with her because this has severed my ties to my wife, which was the only thing keeping us apart before. I don't want to marry my mistress. I miss my wife. I want to go back to my wife. Please, I'm already dead, but can we reinvent for me? My wife thinks I'm dead. Now we need to make sure my mistress thinks I'm dead. And then I need a new identity that will be the perfect man that my wife will fall for so that I can marry her again." Yeah. I really like that one, but it doesn't build out the world a whole bunch. I think my favorite episode was episode 3 with that reality star, which is this fascinating situation where she's like, it seems like it's like a reality show or something like that, almost like a Truman Show sort of thing, where like every second of this lady's life is being followed. Like, every birthday she's ever had has been like a huge TV event that everybody gathers around and watches. Like, everybody in the world knows this lady, and she's played
like Jenna Marbles or something, some big, like, YouTube star.
Yeah, like, we don't know exactly if this is a vlog or a television show or exactly what format it's in. But she's had, like, movies based on her that are supposedly her, but it's not really her. It's an actress playing her. And now she wants to leave this situation, but the company she's had this deal with, like, has rights to her. So they're going to continue using her and have this actress play her. So she's like, now that I've left the company, it is illegal for me to exist. I'm a copyright violation.
Own the rights, to my likeness.
Which could be something chilling to say about the world of entertainment or social media or whatever, but it's so silly that it could be deep. You can think about it deeply, but it just seemed like a fun thought experiment to me. And I loved that it gave us a piece of entertainment that is out there in the world. Like we're learning about a little bit about the culture of whatever version of Earth that this is.
Right.
You know, we learn about Hell, the theme park. That's something its citizens do. They go to Hell, the theme park. There's that looters society of those like burglars who never actually like. They're not doing it for crime. They're doing it for the thrill of the burgle. They're going to break into Buckingham Palace and just take the toothbrush.
Speaking of them, was that a real thing, or were they MI5 like plants? Because they weren't plants per se, but like were they? It seems like they were hired by MI5. Like the whole thing of them stealing the thing, I'm wondering if that was fake, so that they could put this news thing on there, knowing that the Amelia Project would be watching and be like, hey, these guys are gonna want to get away fast, and so that way when they call them, it's be like, look, you know who we are. We just stole something from Buckingham Palace, right? And like, is that the impression you got? Because that's what I got.
Yeah,
with that
I'm not sure whether the Buckingham Palace break-in was legitimate or not. How much of their backs? It seems like they are looters, like burglars of some kind. Like they do burglary for sport. They don't really want anything. They just want the thrill of breaking in and escaping. So it seems like, because that's one of the reasons why MI5 gets them. It's like, wouldn't you love to get into this super secret place and get out with this knowledge? So they've got at least some legitimate background in that. But if every story they're telling is true, I'm not sure. Perhaps we will learn.
Yeah. Interesting. We will see. Yeah, because this absolutely got its hooks in me by the end of season 1. Just to be like, okay, how is this going to continue? How is this not going to spiral out of control? Because that was the thing. Like, not I ended up liking where the Bright sessions went a lot. But that is the thing. They do kind of abandon their format that they started with. I know this season right now is this show is in the middle of season 3 right now. And I guess at the time we're recording this, they're in season 3. But yeah, I don't know what they're going to do after this. Are they going to start to get away from that, like, format of, like, here's this interview with the client? Will we start seeing more stuff of maybe instead of the interviewer interviewing people for the Amelia Project, what if it's a government agent interviewing people who have come into contact with them?
Yeah.
I don't know where the show is going, but it feels like it's expanding at a rapid rate here. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I like that we're getting these plot expansions with like the, government agents watching them, and we are getting hints at the world at large, like what these people might do in their spare time when they bring up the Alicia Cairn show, or just finding out things that happen out there in the world. Like, oh, okay, everybody loves this comedian named Bob. Like, you get to learn a lot of different things about this universe. They do a lot of different kinds of world building that I really appreciate.
Yeah. I'm looking here. I think it must have been episode 2. I want to circle back around to that one, because that one stuck with me, not only for the ridiculousness of this guy that creates this wacky cult, but they actually get into some interesting stuff about faith and about the nature of, like, seeing is believing versus, like, having faith and stuff like that. And, like, I was actually really into that, like how they had some kind of deeper message behind who these characters are, right? Like, it's one thing to be like, okay, this is interesting. You want to fake your death so that your husband who's been cheating on you, you can now seduce the wife or hit, like, his new girlfriend there, or now you want to do, like, that stuff is fascinating in one regard, but we also don't really get to know these people all that well.
We just know them for like 20 minutes at a time.
Yeah, we get to know that one reason why they want to fake their death and be someone else. But yeah, I like the more philosophical discussions that they would have in here. And it happens a few times, but not every one. But yeah, like there's just, I think another thing that amazes me, about this show is just the variety of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like we've said, there is a darker moment or two, but there's also laugh out loud funny moments, right? There's a little bit of magic. There's a little bit of sci-fi. There's some like crime drama going on here. There's some like slice of life. Just like, I never get a day off. Like, I just want to go to the movies, right?
Yeah.
And then they have the more philosophical stuff, like sit down, but there's no chair, isn't there? And then just like seeing is believing, or this or that. It's like, like they go in so many directions, and I think I would normally say that that's too much, and they would need to like focus it in. But I think it works with the show. I like that there's just a million different directions, and that they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, they had a lot of ideas that they just dumped into this big pile, and they're all executed very competently. Like, everything works. There's not a boring episode in there, and there's nothing that seems super crazy. Like, the craziest episode is Percy, where Percy comes to the interviewer and wants a new life, because Percy's like, I am an incomplete character. Like, the writer just Googled names and wrote down Percy and wrote down like 2 pieces of clothes and like a beverage I like, and this is all that I am, and I want to go to a better writer. Please help me find a new life with a better writer. And it's a very meta episode, and to have the confidence to do
really is,
an episode that meta and that structure breaking and that strange in season 1 and pull it off. It's wonderful. And it's a delightful episode, and it's great that that's what they brought back for the bonus episode, where we meet Percy again, and they're putting Percy in all of these different other audio drama worlds in this collaboration with these other audio dramas.
I liked that one a lot. I think that was another one of my, like, they are playing with the format. I like this. This is fascinating. They have that like fourth wall breaking where the guy knows he's a character in a podcast, and he's like, I want out. I want nothing to do with this. These guys suck. Their writing is terrible, right? I am just a piece of cardboard. That's it. And it's fascinating enough, and I think that was maybe one of the funniest moments in the show, where they're like, well, see, now we just have to wait for them to write themselves in a corner. And they just sit there, and they're just sitting there like, hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Are the writers there? Hello? Hello? It's like, this is great. This is wonderful.
Yeah, it's...
but yeah, and then what they did in part 2 of that was brilliant.
Yeah, and it's such a wonderful, loving homage to all these other audio dramas. And at the end of every episode, when they're doing the credits, they also give a shout out to another audio drama, which is wonderful. I get to hear about these shows I'm not familiar with. I love when they mention something I do know. They mentioned Uncanny County, which is one of the other shows I pitched to you last week.
Yeah.
Like, indeed, we still get to make Kyle hear a little bit about it, at least.
Yeah, I recognized a couple of those shows. I haven't listened to them.
Yeah.
But I was familiar with some of them. I think the ones that they went to in the World Audio Drama Day was other podcasts in their network, that like Fable and Volley network, because I saw on their website a list of all the ones that were on there, and it was like, okay, they went to that one, you know.
Nice.
But yeah, like that. It's this like dimension hopping, or I guess podcast hopping. Just like, what if we put you in this kind of show? And it's it's an actual audio drama that exists out there, and they got all the actors and all that stuff. Just to like it's so delightful. That like I think that's a word that keeps coming up to me. It's just it's delightful. It's
a really fun time. I think an audio drama is the perfect medium for this because it is largely back and forth dialogue, and they can spin all of these tales of these gruesome deaths, and they don't have to make you watch any of them or see any pictures. Right. You just hear about it with light sound effects as needed.
Indeed. Let me ask you this though. Mm-hmm. Was there something about the show that maybe you didn't like or didn't think worked well or was lacking in a certain thing, in a certain spot?
I'm not sure why the interviewer doesn't have a name. Like, I wished if they were going to opt for not naming him, that would have been worked around in a more clear fashion where like somebody asks him his name and he like cuts them off or something.
Yeah.
Like, I wish it had been more of a plot point. Like, is there a purpose behind the fact that he does not have a name?
Yeah. I mean, there might be.
Right. I'd be excited to find out.
Come up with new identities. What if he has already put himself through this? And, like, he was the... I guess you kind of
who knows?
That the first one was maybe Amelia Earhart,
Yeah.
But... maybe he was the first one and he assembled this team of people to kind of help him do that, and they realized they had a good thing. It was just like, we can keep doing this for other people. Who knows? But yeah, stuff that I didn't like. I don't know. This is a tough one. I think for me, the stuff that I thought was lacking, I think maybe is the like I kind of want more of the interstitials.
Yeah, I like their banter. I want to learn more about how this office works and like who else is there.
The banter is good. I like all that stuff, but yeah, I really want to know more about these characters. Like, how does this business work? Who is the secretary? How did they meet these two muscle men guys that do all of their stuff? Who is their plastic surgeon? Like, did we hear him speak?
I don't think so. And he might not be I think he might be like a mortician. He seems like a general purpose medical science guy. Yeah, we've got Joey and Salvatore, and the medical guy, his name starts with a K, I think.
I don't remember. You guys know that I'm terrible with names. But
and like, I listened to this while I was working this week. So I was paying 90% attention, and I had to save 10% for actual work.
There you go. But yeah, like, as much as I like everything that's happening and I like all of the stuff that they've told me and showed me, I still don't feel like I know these characters.
Yeah. And like, we have no sense of their backstories, but we also don't have like clear questions that are unanswered. Like, the question of what is the interviewer's name isn't a question within the narrative. It's just to us, the audience.
Right.
He's always credited as the interviewer. Who is he? What's everybody's history with each other? What bits we do get, I really like. I like that it seems that he has a crush on Alvina, because there's an episode where I think they think they're about to die, and he seems like he's going to confess that to her. And then like the threat disappears, and he's like, well, okay, back to business. Let's brew up some cocoa and look at the next case report. Like, he just gets back to normal life. But in the Christmas episode, there's this very, very sweet moment where he goes to the North Pole because there's a Santa Claus who wants to fake his death. And he brings her back.
Great one. He's like, I want to be a thief.
I'm tired of breaking into houses and leaving something. I want to take something. I'm taking the toys for me now.
It was very good. I was like, that's an interesting twist. Like, you would think he'd be like, I just want to go live in the Bahamas, somewhere warm and not have to worry about a thing, right? He's like, no, I want to be a thief. Like, let me take something for once, right? But
but the
back
interviewer,
to what you were saying.
He brings Elvina back a snowball that he wrapped. He wrapped a snowball in wrapping paper, which is a wonderful mental image. And it's such a sweet, tender moment when he gives this to her. She's really
so excited.
And she's like, this is ridiculous. It's melting. This is a nonsense present, but I do sincerely appreciate the thought that you put into this. And he got her like he loves hot cocoa and she loves scones, as they say over there in Europe. And he gets her like a voucher for 2 for this like special tea time somewhere. And you can tell that he's thinking of this like as their date. And she's like, oh, my sister's in town next week. This will be perfect. Thank you. Which is a fairly standard romantic comedy sort of thing. I got you, and something I would like for us to do together, and no, you're going to take that and run with it and do it with somebody else. Okay,
go with someone else.
But it's still executed so well and very touching. I was listening to this like in my kitchen cooking, and I'm like, oh.
They end up
a whole
like,
emotional moment over here while making hamburger.
She's confused at first of like, why did you get me the snowball? That was weird. This is it. This is all I get. Like, what does that even mean? And then they end up just laughing it off of just like, no, like, I got you something special, but it didn't make the trip. Like, it's just some soggy wrapping paper. But here's your actual gift, right? And it's just it's this very warm moment. It's just like, oh, it's nice.
Yeah, I like how much affection they have for each other. And it seems like the whole office has for each other. And I'd love to see more of that explored. I'd love to hear a little bit more from Joey and Salvatore and the rest of the crew.
Yeah. I think if they explore them just a little bit, that'll help. Like as much as I like all the directions it's going, I did also mention it's expanding rapidly, or it feels like it's expanding rapidly. So I am nervous in one sense of just like, I don't want this to get away from them and become too wacky and too ridiculous that they have to like somehow dial it back.
The podcast itself has to fake its own death and invent a new identity. I mean, we've already seen something very meta. What if they expand it further where like the characters have realized, well, we've jumped the shark. We need to unjump this. We need to reset our own continuity here.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
This is a really funny show. What were some of your favorite individual jokes throughout the series, throughout this first season we listened to?
Well, I already mentioned the like fourth wall one where they're just sitting like, hello, writers? Hello? Are you still there? That one I thought was great. I really enjoyed all of the like sayings that the interviewer had. The like, well, tickle my pickle and call me silly. Just like he had like 3 or 4 of them every single episode, and it was just like, this is ridiculous. How does he think of these? I loved those. Yeah, I think those were maybe my favorite like funny moments in there. And then I think there was one. It was one with the 2 like muscle characters. I don't remember their names. I think it was during the Christmas one when they go out to have a snowball fight or something, and they finally come back in, and he's like, I won. I beat him.
Cute.
Yeah, it was good. What about you? What were the funny moments that stood out to you?
The Alicia Karen episode really worked on me because every episode of her past that she's mentioning is so over the top. Like she's like this wild party woman, and this is the show everybody tunes into all the time to see what antics she's going to get up to. And she talks about how every one of her birthdays has been this huge theme party event. And she had one birthday where the theme was everything but cups. So like everybody's drinking, but you can't drink out of a normal container. And she mentions drinking rosé out of a stormtrooper helmet, which is all I want out of my own life now.
Go, that's good.
I also really like the episode where the episode with the hell theme park. Where they're talking about how it's like just close to being deadly, but stops just short. And that's like the perfect amount of danger anybody wants. It's very action park, but legitimately hellish.
Yeah, and something that was neat with that one is they kind of broke their own format of the guy is like, I don't want a new identity. Leave me be, like exactly where I am. I wouldn't be a ghost.
Yeah,
like,
I want to haunt my friend. Like my business partner that I got into this huge argument with. I want to prove him wrong. I want him to have my death on his conscience. And then I'm going to haunt him. And they're like, you realize like you're supposed to be dead, so you can't like go to the store, go to the movies or anything like that. And he's like, yeah, I'll be fine. All I want is to haunt my own theme park.
It's so good.
That episode really spoke to me as a theme park nerd.
Yeah. So if you could see any character from an audio drama that you've already listened to, come fake their death.
Oh my gosh.
Who would you most want to see fake their death and then go live happily ever after?
I don't know, Bradley Cameron Lind. Like the TV show personality from The Fearsome Morning.
That's a good one.
He's gotten in too much trouble doing something, rescuing too many dogs, eating a giant pile of baked beans in a restaurant.
Yeah. To me, I think it'd be really interesting to see Dr. Richard Strand there from the Black Tapes.
The most serious man alive.
Right, yeah, but just like also has the most like interesting job of like, okay, you're basically a ghost hunter now, but just the whole fact that he just like, I'm done with this shit. Like, let me just get away from all of this. No more ghosts. No more all of that stuff. I don't want to deal with it one bit.
I would love for them to do a special episode where it is characters from other audio dramas. I bet they would send a lot of people to King Falls. Like, it's like nobody's going to notice that you're there.
Yeah, or something that would be really funny is for to if they're in contact with all these audio dramas. If one of them wants to introduce a new character, have it be one that these guys like start off in theirs and then send them off to that show without really realizing that it's that show, right? Yes. They're just like, we're going to send you over here to do this one thing, like I think something like that would be amazing. It'd be great. But to just like not mention it.
Yeah.
Right. But like, if you know, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That'd be good. That'd be fun.
This is a story that could go a lot of different places. I like everything that's in it. I like that we get this sort of not quite anthology setup where we've got all these individual cases that can have all sorts of tones and all sorts of ways that they solve the problem. But we've got that backbone of The Office that is super charming and that we always want to learn more about. This is a show that's doing a lot of different things very successfully.
Let me ask you this too. Where do you think they have their office?
I don't know. London?
I guess I'm meaning more like what kind of building? Like, is this actual? Do they have the whole floor? Do they have just like is this like an office complex and their plastic surgeon is actually the dentist that like works next door, right? Is that the thing? I don't know. Like I just feel like it's really small and cramped, and that like they're working in some kind of like office complex.
You're right. I have not been picturing a glamorous office whatsoever. Like there's nothing special about it. It doesn't even have like classy dark woods. You know, it doesn't look like M's office from a James Bond movie. I have been picturing it's beige. It's beige and there's cubes.
Yeah.
I
like
do imagine though
waiting room maybe with the receptionist thing, and then just inside the interviewer's office is just like maybe one like large window behind them, but then just a desk, and that's it, with a really old computer because he hates computers.
God,
it's like that,
he's booting up a DOS machine.
Does that thing even run Windows 97?
It's the Dharma computer. That's what he's got.
Yeah, it's
I do hope that
every single
they have to get into it. Isn't it Get Smart where he like has to go into a phone booth and pick up the phone and like punch a number in, and then he goes through like a compartment? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's something like that. Like you have to go through a crazy series of steps to get into the office, but then once you're there, it's like, this looks normal. This looks like you make paper clips here. Yeah.
I feel like we're also not going to get to learn more about Julia Morizawa's character.
Yeah, I don't know if she's a character or if she's a voice on the answering machine, and it doesn't hint that there's that's like somebody who currently works in their office or like anybody that they know. That might have been something that was recorded 60 years ago. We have no idea.
Right, yeah. And like I don't think we're going to get to know more about her, at least much. But yeah, I would like to see her more in that and just find out more about her, because again, you pitched this as like a darker comedy, and sure, it is, but we also mentioned that it has this like youthful vigor.
It's not a dark comedy. It's a very light comedy about very dark subject matter.
Sure. Yeah, that fits. But then the way Julia delivers her lines, there's almost this like sinister thing behind it of like this is totally serious. If we call you back, consider yourself lucky. If we don't, dun dun dun. It's like there's this like underlying sinisterness of that, and I don't see that anywhere else in the show.
Yeah, Alvina is not remotely sinister. None of them are.
Not at all. So I think with MI5 coming in and starting to investigate them, maybe there will be some of this down the road of like maybe they aren't actually doing what they say they're doing 100% of the time. Who knows? I don't know, but like I want more.
Yeah.
And there is more. Thankfully.
There is. This is great. We've got 2 more seasons of this.
Exactly. At least, because I think the last episode they put out, let's see here, was January 10th. So there you go.
Ooh, awesome.
That was episode 33 of season 3. Wow, good stuff. So they're still plugging along. So good stuff. I enjoyed this a lot. This was a delightful listen.
Yeah. I'm glad I stumbled across this and that we got to listen to it and talk about it and spread the good word. I think this is a great audio drama to pick up if you're not super familiar with this medium, because it is this back and forth interview. Sometimes you listen to an audio drama and there's like too much action or too many voices and you're interested, but it takes too long for your head to really track who everybody is and where they're going and exactly what's happening. But it's two people sitting across the desk from each other talking and not really moving. It's perfect. It's such
and
a
then
good.
maybe you hear the receptionist.
Yeah, it's such a good, simple, easy to follow audio drama that I think would be a great example to get somebody into this medium who's not familiar with it.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, definitely would recommend this to people who aren't familiar with the medium. Trying to think if there's anything else more specific that I want to talk about. The episodes that I liked. I liked that there was another mention of Antithon. I don't remember what that planet was down the road. I think it was. I don't remember if it was Bob the comedian that mentioned it or something. He's like, well, it's not like I'm a worshipper of Antithon or something. And so it's just like that's great that they, all these characters know this. Like it's just a thing. Right?
Yeah,
it's like Scientology.
And then like somebody will mention Alicia Cairn in a future episode or Bob or, I heard about that heist that those two women pulled, if they really pulled it at all, Yeah.
It's good. They do a wonderful job of just building that world with the small amount of characters, which I know you had said, but so good.
It's so efficient. Yeah. And like you only know these characters for like 20 minutes, but I think they do a good job of you have a grasp of them. Like you understand, at least within this context, what they're about, what their goals are, what their personality is, and all of them play off the interviewer in different ways.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have any other kind of final thoughts on season 1 of the Amelia Project?
Check it out. I'm happy to have this living in my audio drama landscape.
Yeah. It was a good one. I definitely recommend checking it out. Melissa, as tradition dictates, what would you recommend to people that enjoyed this? What else might they enjoy?
We already mentioned Wooden Overcoats, which is about this tiny island off the coast of England.
It's a great one.
Where these siblings run a funeral home, and it's not a very good funeral home, but it's the only one in town. And then a guy moves in directly across the road and opens up a better funeral home. And it's just about them competing with each other. It's a very similar sort of quirky, very small, insular sort of humor. This reminded me of a show called Kakos Industries. Have you heard of that one?
Of it, yes.
Yeah, which is weekly shareholder, or however often, it's shareholder updates about an evil company. They do evil, all kinds of evil. And it's just like the CEO of the company giving you updates. Like, this is what this department is up to. This is who won our Ruin a Life drawing this week. We will ruin the life of an enemy of your choice. And he's like the third in a line in this family that has been running this corporation. And so sometimes he'll find like old tapes that his grandpa left him that fill in some of the background. And then there's other rival evil corporations that they're fighting with. I dig that one a lot. A new podcast that's just started releasing episodes. This is Assassinly or assassin.ly. You told me about this because the creator tweeted out at us because we covered their previous project, The Fearsome Morning, which is an old favorite of mine. And they've both got this very, very silly, absurd sense of humor. And the premise of Assassinly is that murder is now legal. And this character is trying to start up a startup for murder. We are assassins for hire. Please hire us. And it's like very light. You're not trying to kill anybody for any real reason. It's like Uncle Frank always eats all the chips and dip at barbecue. None of us get any. Kill Uncle Frank. Yeah. And it's just like they
That's
have
good.
no
That's fun.
resources, no business. They're not doing well, but they are determined to become the top assassins in New York City.
Interesting.
And this one is not an audio drama, but this podcast is full of like very preposterous situations that somebody has been backed into the corner of and they need to figure out a way out. And these reminded me of riddles, because so many riddles are about how did this person die? You find these things. What does that add up to? And there's a podcast called Hey Riddle Riddle, which is 3 comedians just reading each other riddles.
I think you've mentioned that to me before.
I love it. One of the hosts is Adil Rafai, who is on Hello from the Magic Tavern, which is an improv comedy podcast about a man who falls through a portal behind a Burger King and gets sent into this fantasy realm. And he's like, well, my podcast equipment fell through with me, so I guess I'm just going to start an interview show. I'm going to interview like elves and trolls and warlocks and such. It's one of the guys from there, and now he has a show where him and his friends force each other to solve terrible riddles, and then they do improv scenes based on the preposterous scenarios within the riddles. It's very goofy, and I love it a lot.
Okay. Good recommendations. So I mentioned Community. I think all of my recommendations are going to be more based off of like, it reminds me of this character or something like that. But I would recommend the show Community. I loved that show to death. I thought it was fantastic. But that show also just has this like, it's just smartly written. It goes all sorts of places. They have things where they do like claymation.
Yeah.
Where they do claymation episodes and stuff like that. And it goes all these wacky places that you don't expect. So I like it for that. I would also recommend the BBC series Sherlock.
Yes, this is also something I was thinking of.
The interviewer also kind of reminds me of Mycroft in a weird way. Like, what if Mycroft had a sugar high?
Yeah, and if he had Sherlock's sensibility for don't bore me, I'll do anything you want as long as it's new and interesting.
Yes, exactly. So I think that would be another one to check out because they also get up to some ridiculous stuff. Yeah,
and there is a part where somebody fakes their own death, and then there's a whole episode where it plays out all of these scenarios of how it could have been done. And by the end of the episode, you still don't know exactly which one it is. You just kind of have to piece things together and guess for yourself.
Hope for the best.
What was the actual truth?
Yeah. I think that's all that's coming to mind right now, though. I'm like, I think other people would like this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. That's what I would recommend. Melissa.
Yes.
For next week.
Yes.
We are not really doing something different, but we are not pitching things for this next week because next week we are having a guest on the show who's also not really a guest. Gino Viteri, who is one of our co-hosts for our video game podcast Crossplay, will be joining us here on the review show. And since it will be his first time on the show, we asked him to pick something out for us to cover and talk about. And he was really excited to talk about The Queen's Gambit.
Yes.
So that is what we will be watching this next week. It's on Netflix, as most of you, I am sure, already know. But it's only 8 episodes. Is that right? 8 or 9?
I think it's like 8. Yeah, it's a pretty quick watch. I watched this not too long after it came out, so like a month and a half ago. I don't know if I'll rewatch it this week for the podcast. I really enjoyed it, and I'm so excited that I get a chance to talk about it here on the podcast because I have a lot of things I would like to discuss.
There you go. I haven't seen it yet, but it's on my list of things. Out. Yeah, and I'm just excited to finally check it out, despite my hand being forced to watch it. But that's okay, because it was on my list. So it was just like, hey, this is something I wanted to watch. Yes, finally.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is what we will be up to this next week. Don't forget that the week after that, the last Sunday in January, we are recording our end of the month special that we like to do here at this. We are starting a new show called Halt and Catch Fire. Melissa, do you want to tell them a little bit about that one, since you picked it out?
This is a show that aired in the last handful of years on AMC. It is set in the early 80s, and it's about this little tech company trying to produce their own PC to compete with IBM. And Lee Pace stars as this man who left IBM under mysterious, destructive circumstances, goes to this little company in Texas, and he's like, I'm going to make us the next IBM. And he's got all these really sneaky, underhanded business tactics. And he's trying to make this PC as fast as possible. So it's about old analog technology and just underhanded business dealings.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I'm very excited to cover it. I'm a couple episodes in, and I'm already fascinated by this show and trying to figure out where the heck he comes from and where this show is going.
Good stuff. Yeah, so that's what we'll be doing this next week. We're covering season 1, and then at the end of each month, subsequently after that, we will be covering the rest of the show, the next 3 seasons after that. So there you go. That is what we will be up to the next couple of weeks. Melissa, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. And you can listen to my other podcast, Saturday Morning Obscurities, where me and my brother Jams talk about weird old kids shows we half remember or that maybe we've never heard of. They're so obscure, even to us, and we're watching them for the first time as adults.
There you go. Speaking of Jams, he should be joining us this next week on the Captain's Log, which is another one of our podcasts. So we're going to be hanging out and sharing stories and having fun with Jams. It'll be good. So, if you guys want to find me, you guys can follow me at Kyle Springer on Twitter and Instagram. If you guys want to stay up to date with our shows, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter. Go like, share, subscribe. You guys know the deal with that. Please, if you guys like our show, go rate and review us on iTunes, or I guess it's Apple Podcast now. I feel like that's one of those things of your mom always calls it the Nintendo. It's it's an Xbox, Mom. Whatever. Go rate and review us on iTunes.
We'd love it.
Yeah, that would help us out a ton, especially since we're small creators. That will help us spread the word. Let's see. Last but not least, I guess I forgot to shout out on our housekeeping. This is the one thing I was forgetting. That we started up Whatnauts Wednesdays. So every Wednesday night we are streaming on our Twitch channel. Usually going to be around 6:30 or 7 p.m. Eastern time. And we're just going to be playing some video games and hanging out, having fun. So if you're into that stuff, come join us. Twitch.tv/The Whatnauts. But with that, this has been number 140 of the Whatnauts review show. We will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.